All right, guys, here we are back again for more because of Mr. Terupt. We are on Luke's chapter. We have just found out that James in the collaborative classroom is leaving, which is very sad. But it's actually good news because he's been doing so well that he gets to join another classroom. So it's good news for James, but the class is really upset about him leaving because they liked him. And everything that had happened was because of Mr. Terupt. Always because of Mr. Terupt. All right, so here is Luke. We made our way down to the collaborative classroom. It was James's surprise going away party. I wanted to be happy for him, but it was so difficult. Terrible/worrisome news, Mr. Terupt, plus happy party, James, does not equal happy Luke. Invasive species are organisms that are introduced into a new environment. Since they have no natural predators there, they thrive. They suck up all the resources, leaving nothing for organisms there that were there first. The native species suffer and die. Going down to the collaborative classroom, I was afraid that our whole class would act as the invasive species, sucking up all the happiness with our sour attitudes. Lucky for us, the antidote was present at the party. The lights clicked on. Surprise! We yelled when James walked in. His face beamed. I automatically smiled too, and then it happened. James walked over to Peter and gave him a hug that shattered, $word, his shield. Everybody stopped and watched. This was the first time any of us had really looked at Peter since the accident. We had each made the choice to make him invisible, but now we saw him. James finally let go and stepped back. He looked into Peter's eyes. Peter, not your fault. Not your fault. James's voice rose. Peter, now he yelled. Not your fault. Accident. Accident. The room was dead quiet, holding its breath. Peter began crying, softly at first, but then he lost it. His entire body shook with each sob. I couldn't be a silent onlooker any longer. I stepped forward. James is right, Peter, I said. It's not all your fault. I told everyone about Mr. Terupt's early concussions and the bleeding and the looming surgery. Besides, I said, Peter threw the snowball because of me. I cried now too. Accepting responsibility can make you do that, I guess. I hugged Peter right there on the spot. I walked over and hugged my Elmer Sneakers nemesis. And then our crying classmates hugged us. Thank you, James. James, so sweet. Stirring up all these emotions. All right, so now, finally, the class is coming together. And it seems like they're grieving together, which is good. Very sad that they haven't been talking to Peter. We haven't heard from Peter since the accident. So hopefully we'll hear from him soon. I don't see him on the next couple of pages. Next we have Alexia, so here we go. Isn't it weird that Peter called them retards way back when Teach first told us that we were going to work with them? And then it was one of the retards that helped save Peter. We're lucky that some people are so full of goodness. Like Jessica and Anna and Danielle. I was mean to them, but now they're my friends again. I'm lucky. I was lonely without them. I bet Peter was lonely too, but none of us did anything about it until James said something. Then I felt bad for Peter. I gave him a hug. He didn't deserve to be all alone. It feels good being nice. I like it better than being the old Lexi. I hope Deech gets to see how he helped me. That is the end of Alexia's chapter. Here we go again with Jeffery. Things happen for a reason. Jessica told me that. I didn't hate Peter, even if I wasn't smiling on the outside. He had me laughing on the inside a lot. He just liked to have fun, and the good fun went real bad on him that day in the snow. That's all. It wasn't all his fault. James told us that. James had more courage, more good heart in him than any of us smart kids. I don't know if James's word alone would have been enough, but then Cool Man Luke came to the rescue. Not just Peter's rescue, but all our rescues. We needed to talk. Thanks to James and Luke, we started to. Things happen for a reason. I can't find all the reasons. Did everything we did in the collaborative classroom lead to this moment? Is this why it all happened? Why did it have to be Peter? And why did it have to be our teacher in a coma? Was it so I would learn that life isn't fair sometimes? Because I learned that a long time ago with Michael. Remember, Michael was his brother who died of a brain tumor, I think. All right, here we go. We can keep going with Anna's chapter. Things are working out, sort of. There's been good news for James. Lexi's back to being nice, and Peter's part of the class again. But it's hard to stay positive when Mr. Terupt's about to have brain surgery. I get scared when I think about it for too long, and I think about it all the time. That and my mom. Danielle's words crushed me. I didn't get mad at her, though. In a way, I felt sorry for her. I know she wants to be my friend, but her family doesn't want that to happen. That's got to be hard. This time I talked to Mom about it as soon as I got home that day. Mom, Danielle said her family disapproves of you and that you and Charlie will never be allowed to get married. Whoa, slow down, Anna, Mom said. First of all, Charlie and I aren't looking to get married. Second of all, I know their family disapproves of me. My jaw fell open. Sit down, honey. I sat at the kitchen table across from Mom. She had been looking over the mail and drinking a cup of coffee, cream and sugar, when I burst in on her. Mom explained, Charlie and I went to school together. When I ended up pregnant with you, he didn't treat me kindly, just like everyone else. In fact, one day he got me so upset I kicked his truck. I put that dent in his door. Whew. That's a big question answered. I could see my mom reliving those painful memories as she spoke. He's actually apologized to me for how he behaved back then. But why would Charlie say he's sorry if his family disapproves of you, I asked. Danielle's parents and grandparents are pretty old-fashioned and religious, just like my parents, who couldn't find a way to be accepting of me and my situation all those years ago. They still can't. For a second, I wondered about my mother's mom and dad. I've never met them. Were they really that unforgiving? Where's Danielle's? I think Charlie just went along with everyone else when we were teenagers, but now he's ready to think for himself. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you can just leave it there. Thanks. Okay, sorry for that. But now he's ready to think for himself. It's always good to make up your own mind, Mom said. So I have Mr. Terupt to thank. If it weren't for his accident, Danielle might have never come over, just like she said. Thanks, Mr. Terupt, but you didn't need to go and get hurt this bad so that I could be friends with Danielle. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful, but I'd really like you back now. You're going to get better. Be positive. You taught me that. Maybe Danielle and Charlie will be able to change their family's opinion of us, I said. I'm going to be positive. Mr. Terupt would want that. Oh, love it. All right, so we got a few answers there, so that's exciting. But we are going to stop there, and we will be back next time with Danielle's chapter. See you guys.